Welcome back to episode 30 of Project Ozone 2 Kappa mode, and it's time for a quick roundup before we get into the main topic of this episode, which is going to be mob spawning. Yes, lots of mob spawning. So, to get started, I just thought I'd show you this. This is just a quick setup to replace, remember those UV light boxes, or I have two I think, but I may have only shown you one, to make PCBs or printed circuit boards? Well, this is a replacement for it. Assembly controller, assembly platform, assembly laser, and 2 I/O units. You need a pneumatic wrench, I think it's called. Pneumatic. One of these. Pneumatic wrench. Straightforward recipe. And you then right click to change them between input and output. Blue is input, orange is output for these I/O units. So this is the input chest, as you can see. And the output chest is over here. Now, nothing really happens, and first thing, before you build this, make sure, and don't ask me how I know this, that your air compressor has a security upgrade. Unlike the earlier tiers of stuff, this thing will happily blow up. So in this case, I'm just going to drop some more coal in there. It can just make things passively. As you can see, it starts. And it's quite slow, but it will just run automatically. It is definitely much faster than the UV light boxes. And throwing stuff into this little tiny vat of etching acid. So I guess I can now get rid of that. Can I have buckets? Yeah. There we go. Let's just get rid of you. We don't need you anymore. Which means I can get these blocks back. Great. And less of a mess. Back away in our system. And speaking of buckets, remember the ME controller that I was making last episode? Yeah, it's still coming on. It's not too bad. It's certainly bigger than I've probably built before. I don't think I've ever built anything that size before. I think I've built a cube, but I've not gone for the full-on solid cube or nearly solid cube. So in order to do that, I need lots of cloud seed. I'm not going to need this like fully automated in the system, but just having it making lots of cloud seed would be really good. And that's going to slightly annoy me now. Do we have a muffler left? Yeah, we do. Hopefully this isn't going to ignore it. There we go. So here I've got to set up these kind of blocks here, this kind of space of 12 blocks. Just to briefly explain, we've got infinite water. That's going into a glacial precipitator from thermal expansion. That makes snowballs, or snow or ice, but snowballs in my case. That's outputting into the vat, or the first vat, which is taking snowballs. Up here, I've just swapped out the reinforced cache from over here, and this will, once I turn it on again, will start piling up dust, but we don't need dust for anything else at the moment, so I've just moved it over here. This goes into our oak barrel, just like we had a machine over there to do. That converts it into clay. Clay gets dropped into the sag mill. Sag mill turns it into silicon and clay, the clay balls. Clay balls go down. Silicon goes out the back into our system, but the clay balls can also go out and back into this vat, where they get stored here. That then outputs up into a fluid tank, which takes buckets, which I just put in manually, just a stack of buckets, which outputs to here, and I can just grab them, dump them into my system and say, I want more ME controllers, please. Now, they do take resonant machine frames, so don't think this is cheap. It's still not cheap by far, but it's fine, and I can just dump the buckets back in here. There we go, and then we can just put more. Well, I don't have lifts everywhere, elevators even, so yeah, we can just put more in like this. And as I was saying, every layer apart from the bottom and top is this checkerboard pattern. Hopefully this is not putting your vision out, because it is a little bit jarring and distracting, but you get the idea. That's what it's going to look at like from the end, and from the side, the same thing. From the top, the bottom does look different. See, it's got this one space here, so I can get to the bottom face of this column. And when things get rotated, it'll just mean the opposite's true. So this will get connected at the top end rather than down here. All pretty good. Very happy with it. Yeah. One other thing before we move on to mob spawning, I did make this little setup as well. Now, remember when I was messing with the crafting table at the end of the last episode? Well, I filled in a lot more of it. We're still going to need to get a villager spawner for the center. I keep wanting to say vibranium, but that's a Marvel thing. Vibrantium or something so close to be nearly identical. Anyway, we need villagers for it. And then we need, I think, tier 9 rocket to actually get this outside ring. And this will get us the neutron collector. The other thing we're going to be heading towards is the Philosopher's Stone, which has quite a lot of uses. It has a huge amount of uses for, well, duplicating ore and that kind of stuff and smelting ore. There's 295 pages of this stuff. But if we go back one or two, is it in this one? Might not be in this one. Okay, so yeah, it makes other things as well. So Project E quests, if you like. In shapeless crafting is the one I think I actually want, not shaped. Because it lets us get to alchemical coal, which turns into Mobius fuel, which turns into... I can't pronounce that. Eternalis? I'm going to go for that. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I probably will be. And that's pretty much it. But that stuff gets used for making finished fuel blocks. Also, more importantly, dark matter from our plutonium, from our reactor downstairs. Okay? And Nova Cataclysm. I don't think I want to... Just from the name, I don't want to actually craft that. Anyway, dark matter gets used with a bunch of other things. Yeah, so dark matter axes and all kinds of other stuff that you would have been familiar with, maybe from previous mod packs. But yeah, dark matter chest plates. Yeah, so all this kind of stuff to come. I think we then got red matter. We want to create red matter, and that takes dark matter, along with that Eternalis fuel block and nether quartz. So red matter then is used for other stuff as well. So yeah, we've got lots of stuff to go. And I think we've even got some of these red matter leggings for quest rewards. But in order to get there, we need, well, we need lots of things. The Philosopher's Stone itself is quite a huge recipe. Surprisingly, a lot of this stuff we already have. We have the soul, well, one soul crystal. Spirit binder we can get from fighting the guy again. That guitar solo on the fight, but we can actually kill it much faster, I guess, with our current armor. Thorium you can get from the mining world, so just put down your digital miner and away you go. You just find one block of it and away you go. So pretty much everything in here we can craft, apart from this vibrantium stuff. So we're going to have to get to that. The other problematic thing is the demon steel of 8th magnitude. This goes up in powers of, well, basically 3 of one tier crafts 1 of the next tier. So you can imagine that gets pretty expensive pretty quickly. So what I'm going to have to do, I think, is stop taking stuff out of this manually. And then I'm probably going to have this piped into something else that makes the demon steel and have it just building up demon steel, because I've got so much Temperio essence in here already. Although probably not enough once it gets converted. But Temperio essence is not a problem if I leave some in there. So I'll do that again. It's not something I need to show on camera. Yeah, I'm sure you can understand how that works. This stuff, however, you will need to see on camera if you're not familiar with mechanism, or even if you are, you've seen my tutorial series, handy plug on the channel. But solar neutron activator, that's one of the top blocks in this recipe for the neutron collector. It needs HDPE, if I remember right. I forget that name right. HDP. Yeah, it needs a HDPE sheet to make 1, and that's used for other things as well. But the main one is, it's got 17 pages in here. Will you show me? Oops, let's go back. There it is. So solar neutron activator, you'll recognize all the rest of these pieces. We've already made them. It's only that one thing. That's problematic because it needs HDPE pellets, which needs substrate through a PRC or a pressurized reaction chamber, which needs to be created in a PRC. So we need 2 of those. And then that can come from Crusher. So I've got everything set up here to work. So to explain, we've got water going to an electrolytic separator, which separates it into hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen goes this way into the first PRC, which gets water from this over here and hydrogen. It takes biofuel and converts that into ethylene. Okay, it's a gas. It's quite important that you know it's a gas. The oxygen goes out this way, down and under. We'll come back to that in a second. From the PRC, the ethylene gets output this side into a rotary condensator, which turns it into liquid ethylene. The liquid ethylene is exported. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to work. It doesn't automatically push stuff out, I don't think. Maybe is there an ejection upgrade? I don't think there is. Speed, energy, no. I don't see anything in here that says auto eject, and this doesn't auto pull. So you do need one actual fluid conduct between them to pull the liquid ethylene into here. The oxygen comes back from below, which is a gas, into this one. So liquid ethylene, oxygen, and that will then take substrate and turn it into HDPE. On this side, we've just got a crusher from our ye olde sugarcane result of my farming. That just creates biofuel and again puts it into this. The problem I think at the moment why it's not working is it's backed up on ethylene, which means I need some way to dump this tank either permanently or... Yeah, I wonder... Is there any way for me to output the liquid ethylene or something along those lines? I'm not sure. I'd sort of like to get rid of it out of here. And there is an easy way. I may have not shown you this previously. If we get the gauge dropper, you'll see everything start up. If I just go in here and then shift click on this, it'll empty the tank, which will start pulling in ethylene, converting over to the liquid ethylene, which should be draining out of this tank, which will then start processing the biofuel into substrate, which goes up here, out, over the top, into this one, which gets turned into HDPE, which gets put back into our system. So I've got enough HDPE for the moment. That's just a temporary setup. I don't think we're going to need huge amounts of it. I didn't want to put it into autocrafting or anything like that. I can just set things up to go and go. So let's get on to the main topic after that 12 minutes of me waffling. Main topic is spawning, or rather my dissatisfaction with using this for much longer. I had a problem where I needed a sentient ender. Which needs a soul vial with a witch in it. You remember me talking about soul vial with witches at the start of the game? Still had to collect them manually because the ones on Jupiter, I want to say, are evolved witches, not witches, so they don't count for that recipe. So either I had to go find a witch in the wild or other such problems. I don't want to do that anymore. So what we can do is, well, we can get 300 levels and build another one of those with witches. But I don't think I want to be honest. 300 levels, even with this running, which it isn't at the moment, because I'm recording, 86 levels, it just gets tiresome. So there's another way of doing spawning. Now that we are in draconic evolution called stabilized mob spawners. So if I just grab this stab, there we go. I've got two. The only way you actually create these is you go out, you create some draconic cores. You go out to this mob spawners, easiest ways in the nether. Go to those blaze spawners that we now no longer need. Right-click them with a draconic core, and then break the block, and you end up with this. Okay, it doesn't do much else at the moment, but that's about to change. And let's just see what... I'm going to need an awakened core. I need a wyvern core. Got two, but one will do. I'm going to need a golden apple and a nether star. Golden apple and a nether star, when you right click on the stabilized mob spawner, gets it to ignore things like one ignores I think it's the nether star, maybe I can't remember which way around it is. One ignores the fact that it'll spawn even when you're not around, and the other one ignores things like light level and you know, the other requirements for things to spawn, so it'll just spawn whenever, which is great. These just improve the speed as far as I know. So the draconic core makes a tier 1 stabilized mob spawner, then a tier 2, then a tier 3. And the last bit we need is a mob soul. And of course, I'm going to choose a witch. You can choose whatever you like. Slimes are good as well, just because of what you can get out of slimes. And maybe zombies too, but I've already got a zombie spawner with that box room upstairs if I need zombie heads. And because I can't automate zombie heads, yeah, then going to this kind of approach is not all that useful. So let's just first turn on my magnet, because I'm going to be going into that room. Let's grab the mob soul for the witch. I've only got one of them, so if you don't have one yet, persevere. Leave your mob spawner up there running, and eventually you will get them. I do actually need one more thing from the system. That's soul vials. Okay. Now, if you do want to build one of the 300 level things for witches, you can feel free to do so. There's no problem with doing that. If you do, there's a much easier way than getting soul vials. If you change this to, instead of spawn, to capture, you can just drop soul vials in. I think it just fills them automatically. So that's pretty good. In this case, I'm not going to need these anymore unless I need more zombie heads. So let's just get rid of them for the moment. There we go. And now let's put the stabilized mob spawner in its place. Now nothing's going to happen because there's no soul in it yet. There we go. So let's upgrade it while we can. So up to purple, up to orange. Nether star is gone in, and golden apple. You can see I've got a tooltip at the bottom right. So it requires player false. Ignore spawn requirements true, and it keeps on fading away. Spawn tier 3, hold shift for upgrade info. So yeah, there we go. Requires players is the nether star side of things. Ignore spawn requirements is the basically the golden apple, the highest tier one, or whatever it's called, notch apple. And then the cores. All right. So now all we need to do is insert this. Now I can't remember whether it needs a redstone signal or whether it doesn't need a redstone signal. So this may be fast. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, okay. So we need to turn it on to disable this. And they're already... How many are in there? Well, there's quite a few. Oh no. I don't want to get hit. I don't want to get hit by this many witches. Let's just grab a few, shall we? Can I grab them? There we go, I've got one. Okay, so we got soul vial of witches, and I guess if we want to just get rid of the rest, we can do. Just say goodbye, witches. That was in about 5 seconds. So yeah, maybe you don't want to actually upgrade that all the way to awakened, but you can if you want to. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of these and then join me once I've finished. Alright, so now that we've got the witch spawner going, we can just improve things. What I think I actually want to do, I'm going to build out this platform. I never really completely builded it. Builded it? That's bad English. Built it. I'm going to get rid of all that stuff up there. I'm going to keep this kill box in the middle, but I think I'm going to build out multiple of these rooms and probably maybe build them with dark glass or something that's a little bit nicer than this. And the main reason why I have to put multiple rooms in place is it responds to redstone signals. So I guess I could put lots of cable through, but I don't really want to. Just be careful, by the way, don't break this without putting cardboard box around it first. I'm not sure if cardboard boxes even work, but if you break it otherwise, you lose the soul and the upgrades, I think. And I'm not going to try it out because that's my only witch spawner. And that's my only witch soul. So yeah, but because I want to control these with redstone, that's just me pressing things. I want to control it with redstone, and I don't want to hit one switch and have everything spawn. So we could do separate channels, I guess, on redstone with different switches. That would be a possibility. But I think we can just go with the upgrade that we get from Draconic Evolution, which is to basically, instead of using these blocks, the conveyor belts, which are cheap at early game, we can instead use, well, a bit of a portal. Normally this is used for wither killing boxes, but in this game that wither is not, I wouldn't try. Because every time you kill it, everything gets much harder, you don't want to mass kill bosses. Well, maybe you do, but I don't. So, what do we actually need to get that started? We need a dislocator pedestal. So, let's get a receptacle even. in order to do that, I'm going to need dislocator. What is it now? Dislocator. There it is. So I'm going to need draconic cores, and I'm going to need some of this draconic infused obsidian. So yeah, the range of the stabilized spawners, I think, well, everything I've found so far online, I think they're 7x7, which means we need a room 9x9 if I want these to line up along the walls, which means 2 rows of 9 is 18, and then 2 rows of 7, which is 14. So yeah, that should be, what, 32? So if we can make 32 of these, that should be fine, hopefully. And one of them is going to be the receptacle, this thing. So we need a draconic core for that, so let's just craft one. Just one of them, please. It shouldn't take very long. And we're also going to need a pedestal, which we've got in the system. That's great. So dislocator, there we go. Hopefully it'll have crafted by now. We'll see very shortly. There we go. Okay, and we also need a charm of dislocation. That's also fine, and we need to bind this to a location. This is the destination for the portal, effectively. So, in our case, this is inside our kill box here. Doesn't really much matter where we put it in here, because I can always replace it later if we want to. So, and I will remove these again. Once I've done this, actually, I'll remove them. Let's just bind you right about here. Okay, that's that done, and then I'll just remove these. I want my magnet on because I want to replace things like that. And be flying when I do this, otherwise we will break those. I still don't have many other enchants on those yet, and I haven't built more. I should, I suppose. It depends. Well, this is going to be really quite fast, so I think I may need to put more of those spikes down, but we'll see very, very shortly. So let's get rid of you, and now I need to make the floor, well, the equivalent of lava. In this case, however, this room is actually a bit too big. How big did I build it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's too big. I actually want a 9x9. So I could shrink the room by 1. Or I could leave it as is, but then they shouldn't end up on top of the portal. So if we just vein mine this stuff, once I'm close enough. There we go. We'll then be able to build the portal in here, which should take no time at all. Let's leave that corner block for the receptacle, shall we? Just so I can get to it. And that's going to be next to my off-on switch, instead of an on-off switch. There we go. So there is my receptacle. There it is. And then I need the charm of dislocation. Does that need energy as well? It may actually need energy. Or just right-click it. Let me check. Okay, well, it won't work in the corner, apparently. Don't know why, but if you put it one in the middle, one on the sides, it works. And we have an activated portal. Anything dropping into here should get dropped into our kill box, so I can just make more of these portals. They're really not all that expensive anymore. So that looks pretty good, although, well, I'll make it look better next episode, well, between the episodes. Let's turn this on and see if we start getting witches spawning, shall we? Oh, hold on. Whoop. Ah. Turn the magnet off, quick. Yeah, there's a few witches. I don't think we're going to be short of witches. I'm going to turn that off. They're just dying like crazy. I'm going to have to make more spikes and then maybe put looting and sharpness on them or whatever other enchants I can get. Oh my god. my poor system downstairs is going to flood with bags and everything else. In fact, I think it's just having an extreme issue right now trying to absorb everything. Yes, but that does mean we should get more witch mob souls. So if I do need to move that and destroy it, it'll be okay. So that's pretty good. I think that is, well, that's nearly the end of the episode. What I also want to do, however, oh, has it absorbed them all now? No, it's still going. It's having problems with the XP. Have I hooked up the XP again? I managed to destroy this with another... yeah, I haven't hooked up the XP. That's what it is. I keep on getting when I try to capture a mob soul of a witch. They keep on falling down in there, and then I get too close. The creeper basically explodes, and things go badly from there. There we go. It's absorbed it now. Everything's hooked up. So, yeah, last thing I wanted to cover is the last type of spawner. And this is the one I normally use for witch farms. Very different witch farms, using something like blood magic, where you want them all to stay alive. And it's the one where you can choose to spawn an exact copy or not. In this mod pack, however, it's going to become useful, not for that, but for creating villagers, I think. We have a villager in the last millennium. I'm hoping we're going to be able to use him. Or her, I can't remember which one it is. And Safari Net reusable is what I typically use, and then the MFR spawner, or the auto spawner, which is this block. So now you know why I needed the sentient ender, which is why I didn't have a soul vial with a witch in it that I needed to get witches for. Yes. So this needs a few other things, just some charged draconian block, and that's why you can't get to this recipe. You can't use spawners earlier in the game, these spawners earlier in the game, so you need all those kind of things. One thing you're probably not familiar with is bus randomizer. It's Project Red, but it's similar circuit plates that we've used previously, and this is just some this is just wool, if you like, and redstone or red alloy ingots. Nothing terribly onerous for us now, so we can get an auto spawner, and that means we can probably get villagers. Now I don't really have an area for it for this episode, but I guess what I could do, do I have a transceiver? I thought I may have had a spare transceiver. Do I? Transceiver? Yeah, because villagers aren't well, aggressive. If I can get through the portal. Can we grab the last millennium villager, and let's see if we can spawn more of them. We're not too concerned with copies, or spawn exact copy. Huh. The last villager. Can I grab you? Doesn't look like it. That's annoying. So I'm going to have to look up how I can get villagers. Any ideas? I guess I can make a villager spawner with a stabilized. Will that work? No, I need mob souls for that, which means I need lots of villagers to get the mob soul. So how am I going to get the villager? Yeah. Is that cliffhanger enough for you guys? Maybe not, but we'll see next episode. I certainly am going to use this. If I can get a normal villager, I can get Safari Net for a villager, and then I'll put it in this thing and we'll spawn some villagers. So, hope you've enjoyed the episode. It's been a pretty good one, actually. Got lots of nice spawning stuff done, and I'm going to have to rebuild this entire platform, I think, and get rid of all of that. I think it'll look pretty great with, I don't know, maybe 8 of those rooms around the outside, 9x9 rooms, and then we can just have individual switches going to each one, just to flip things on and off individually, rather than having weird routing inside each box, and it also makes it look pretty good as well. So if we wanted anything hooked up to the AE2 system in future, we could just turn on a redstone channel, and yeah, things would start spawning in our kill box. Hope you've enjoyed it. Feel free to give me a like if you've enjoyed this episode, or a thumbs up, or whatever you want to call it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Otherwise, yeah, I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.